My name is Sergeant Andrew Turco.
I'm Suzanne Blake. I head up MIT Emergency Management.
Thank you for joining us for the Active Shooter Violent Intruder Awareness Training. So how are you going to find out about an active shooter situation? You may find out through the MIT alert. You may be playing around on Facebook and you see people talking about a shooting that's happening at MIT. If that's the case, go to a verified source of information. Go to theemergency.mit.net, verify that the information is correct, and use that information, okay? And finally, you may see or hear it. If you see or hear it, that is when you're going to be utilizing the run, hide, fight methodology.
So the response varies depending on where you are. If you find out via MIT alert or other type of communication like social media and you verify it, your response is going to be a little bit different. So you're probably not in the immediate area of the shooter because you're not hearing and seeing it. You're finding out from some other means. And so that's when we want you to stay where you are and shelter in place. So that means the hide part that we're going to talk about goes straight to that tactic. Lock all windows and doors, turn off lights, silence your cell phones, things like that, and then wait for further instructions. Again, chances are if you're getting it this way, if you're finding out about it this way, you're not near it, so you don't have to employ run, hide, fight. Now that said, these situations evolve very, very quickly, and so it's possible that it could move, it could be near your situation, so always be thinking, what am I going to do next? The other thing we want to point out here is that the initial MIT alert is going to contain very minimal information. The very first one will not contain the location. So we've empowered police to be able to push out an active shooter message as soon as they know that one is happening so that the entire community can be aware of what's going on. But again, it has minimal information as far as there is an active shooter situation going on, and it includes the run, hide, fight steps, okay? And very, very quickly after that, we're going to get you the information as soon as we find out. So they engage our team immediately after that, and we will get you the information as soon as we know it, as far as where it is, as far as any other special instructions that you need to take. But that first one is going to be sort of minimal, and so take the stay where you are, shelter in place, wait for further instructions tactic to respond.
Now you may get the MIT alert that an active shooter situation is happening on campus before you get to campus. Where do you go? Anywhere. You go anywhere but here.
Campus.
All right? We have some of the most dedicated staff and students around here who think that they need to come to this campus no matter what. No, okay? There's an active shooter situation on campus, stay clear, all right? We'll send you the information, we'll let you know when it's safe. You may find out about an active shooter situation because you see it or hear it. That is when we're gonna utilize the run, hide, fight. That is when this strategy is gonna be the best option for your survival. One of the things we want you to do is that when you go into areas on campus, look around. You know, just like when you're in a movie theater, before the movie starts, you see where the exits are. Do that when you're in a room on campus. So in an active shooter situation, running, getting away from whatever it is always the best option. If you can do that, okay? Don't just blindly follow other people. People might go a certain direction. You want to stay away from bottlenecks, okay? If all 25 of you try and go out this door at the same time, it's probably no longer the best way to get out of the room, okay? So you have to think on your feet, but just because some people are going one way doesn't mean you are going that way. Try to keep all your belongings behind. The only thing you want to take with you is your cell phone. You want to keep it on silent, okay? Because we're going to be giving you additional information. You want to make sure that you have access to that information. But you don't have to, be unconventional. There may be ways of getting out of the area that you're in that you didn't possibly think about. Like earlier today, someone thought the balcony was the best option. That's probably not. It's probably not a good idea. But there may be areas where you're in a garden level room, and that's the best way to get out, and you're going out through a window. I don't know, but think about these things when you're in different parts of campus. Use different ways to get places on campus. There's some areas of campus that the building is set up pretty traditionally, right? If you go into the main door of Building 7, you know that the next few floors in that building, they're set up pretty similarly, right? If you were to go in the bottom floor in Stata, that building is a maze no matter how you cut it. So if you're not familiar with that building, use different ways to get around that building so you get more acquainted with how it's set up. So if running is not an option, the next option is hide. You want to silence everything. Don't just silence your phone. My mom has 19 Apple products. When I call her on the phone, they all ring at once in different rooms in the house, okay? So just because your phone is silenced doesn't mean, your pager, your laptop, your watch, whatever other thing is that beeps is silent. So keep that in mind. Turn the lights off, barricade the door. Whatever you can do to make it more difficult to get to you. Because in an active shooter situation, time is not on your side. You cannot afford to just sit and wait. But the more obstacles you can put in between you and that other person, the better off you are. But that's a good point.
And so even if the doors, like those doors or those exits, open outward, you can still, it still helps to put things in front of the door. You're not, in this case, we're not necessarily trying to keep the person from opening the door. We're trying to keep as many things between us and the shooter and making it very difficult for them to get to us because they want it to be easy. They want to kill as many people as possible in as little time as possible. And if you're putting things in their way, then you're creating more time in that situation.
But the one thing that's important about this step is that just because you found a spot to hide doesn't mean it's over, right? Things can change. So once you found a hiding spot, think of the next step. Well, what if this changes? What if that person gets in this area? What can I do? What are my options? So it may always be fluctuating between the spectrum of, can you get away? Do you have to stay here? Is fighting the only option? And then finally, fight. This is the last option. The other two didn't work. You can't run away. You can't hide. This is the last option. So you're fighting for your life in this situation. And it's important to, even though you don't have a ton of time, you have enough time to make a plan. So the people in the picture here, they didn't all of a sudden spontaneously pick something up and decide to strike the person. Someone had to have a conversation. They had to decide what they're going to do. Are they going to swing stuff? Are they going to throw stuff? Are they all going to swarm on top of that person? What are they going to do? But someone has to ask that question so you can make that decision. So if that were to happen in here, what sort of things could you use as weapons in a last resort type of situation? Chairs are great. Water bottles are great. Those aluminum water bottles, that'll get someone's attention. So anything, really, can be used as a weapon if you really need it to. So one thing we want to make clear, we get this question a lot, should you pick up the person's gun if you're able to get it out of their hands? Absolutely not. Okay? You're looking at a situation where the police are going to be responding to gunfire. You don't want to be in a situation where they open the door and you're holding the gun. That's a very dangerous place to be. A good idea is to put it under a trash can. Put it under the recycle. Put it somewhere. Kick it out of the way. Don't be holding it.
And the way that the run, hide, fight methodology was developed was by the FBI actually looking at surveillance footage of actual active shooter incidents and observing who was more likely to survive. So the people who ran were the most likely to survive in all cases. The people who hid were the next likely to survive if they couldn't run. And then the next most likely to survive were people who actually tried to counter the shooter and overtake them on their own. The people the one option that never worked was doing nothing, right? So you have these three options. Some of them feel scary. Some of them are going to be evolving. But you do have these options that you can use depending on the context and the location and all of those things. So we want you to keep that in mind. And of the 160 active shooter incidents that they studied in the FBI study, 21 of them, so that 13%, 21 incidents were stopped by unarmed civilians. So it is an option. It may not be your favorite option. It's the most scary option, but it is an option that you can use if you choose to use it.